I have some news from the state of Florida, and yes, we will indeed be here a while. Shout out to WFLA News Channel 8 for this. Let's get into it.
Of tomorrow, and we could find out more particulars tomorrow, but they say that unless something significant develops in the hours ahead, do not expect an update on this tonight, at least from a detail standpoint regarding the status of them being missing. So let's continue to read what we have for you on WFLA.com. It's been 1 week since they went missing, and investigators say the search has now intensified, including into Pinellas County, which is a curious detail. They say that no indication that the students have been deported or any foul play is involved. Detectives say that 27-year-old Nahida Bristi was last seen on April 16th at the NES building on USF's campus, which we mentioned earlier. Zamil Iman, also 27 there on the right, he was last spotted at his home on Avalon Heights Boulevard in Tampa. So earlier I said they were both seen at the NES building, but it's actually Limon that was last seen at Avalon Heights. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office expanding the search beyond Hillsborough County into Pinellas County following active leads. Officials with USF Police say finding the students remain their top priority. Both Bristi and Limon are graduate students at USF. Bristi, there on the left, studying chemical engineering, while Limon is pursuing a degree in geography, environmental science, and policy. Friends say that Limon is dedicated and responsible, making his disappearance in particular especially concerning. We're going to get more into this with some of the clips that we're about to play for you. But in the meantime, we're going to say hello to our audience on TikTok Live, on YouTube Live, and on Facebook Live, and let folks know the comment here, and we'll be able to bring your comments on screen. We're going to be live here for quite a bit as we try to get this word out as quickly as possible. Let's go now to Jenna Bass. She filed this report early on this morning. So some of the details here are, well, this was our morning report on this story, so some things have changed, obviously, with these two now being considered endangered by detectives, but you'll see a lot more in Jenna's report here as to the status of their disappearance.
Today officially marks 1 week since those two USF students were last reported seen on April 16th. It was right here behind me at the NES building on USF's campus, where they say 27-year-old Nahida Bristi was last seen. Zamil Limon, also 27, last spotted at his home in Avalon Heights Boulevard in Tampa. Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office is now intensifying and expanding their search to include Pinellas County. Detectives with the University of South Florida Police Department saying they're doing everything they can to locate Bristi and Limon while maintaining focus on overall campus safety as well.
So our students and our faculty are number one priority, and anytime we get a missing persons report, we're going to go through the whole entire spectrum of trying to locate them, make sure they're okay.
Both Limon and Bristi are graduate students. Bristi is studying chemical engineering, while Limon is pursuing a degree in geography, environmental science, and policy. Close friend MD Rakibuchaman says Limon took his studies seriously.
He's pretty punctual and very serious about his academic life. That's the only thing I can surely tell you.
Investigators say the two are friends and may be together, but their sudden disappearance is raising concern. Raki Buchaman saying this is extremely out of character.
It's not feel normal, I said he is very decent person. But what's going on in his personal life, I don't know.
Both students moved from Bangladesh to study here in the United States. Detectives saying they are following active leads, including the possibility that they returned overseas, but above all, hope for their safe return.
First thing is we look at is, whether they went back and just didn't tell anybody. But we've also been in communications with people back at their house through friends and family, and we know that's not the case. It's important for us to locate them, and hopefully they'll be fine.
And investigators tell us they have checked with federal agencies, and as of right now, they can confirm that neither one of them have been deported, nor do they suspect foul play at this time. They are asking for the public's help, so head over to our website, WFLA.com, if you have any further information. Reporting in USF, Jenna Bass, 8 on your side.
And thanks to Jenna for that morning report. So again, here's what we're looking at here, folks. Two USF students that have been missing for a week, but recent information obtained by investigators have caused them to escalate this to officially consider these two to be endangered. What those details are, we do not know. The status of these two are completely unknown. They were last seen here in Tampa, one on campus, the other one, as far as Mr. Limon, he was last seen at, one more time, his home on Avalon Heights Boulevard in Tampa. Again, both of them are 27 years old. A release here from USF Police Public Information Officer Larry McKinnon reads, so our students and our faculty are our number one priority, and anytime we get a missing persons report, we're going to go through the entire spectrum trying to locate and make sure that they are okay. So earlier today, I believe this was today, on News Nation, an interview with Limon's brother, I believe. Let's listen to this here. This was earlier on our parent network, News Nation.
No, they are. I said he is a very decent person, and but what's going on in his personal life, but I don't know.
All right, I would like to welcome in Zamil's brother, Zubar Ahmed. Zubar, thank you so much for giving us some of your time. I know this has to be so difficult for you and your family, because here we are now at a week since these two were last seen. I'd like to listen to some of what university police are saying. Let's listen to that.
First thing is we look at is, whether they went back and just didn't tell anybody. But we've also been in communications with people back at their house through friends and family, and we know that's not the case. So it's important for us to locate them, and hopefully they'll be fine.
All right, Zubair. So 7 days and not hearing anything. What is the latest update you and your family have received on the actual search?
Okay, so today I have talked with one of the police officer, and they have informed us that they would like to take our DNA, but they haven't come any clue or found what could be happened to them. And for us, it seems like they're missing out of nowhere.
Do you know why they would be asking for DNA samples?
I didn't know that. They didn't tell us about that.
What can you tell us about their relationship? And is going dark like this even in either of their characters?
They are friends, and they have feelings. They had feelings previously, but that's not something that they could take such steps willingly. And it's very suspicious and unusual for us. And as we know them, they are very punctual and serious about their study.
Right. I mean, we're talking about two, doctoral students here,
Yeah.
so we know that they take education, both of them, very seriously. So you talked about the fact, they were romantically linked, at least at one point. They liked each other. Is there any possibility that their disappearance is connected to that? Like maybe they were eloping, or maybe they're on a romantic getaway?
It's as far I know, and as far I know my brother, that it's completely impossible for him that without telling anyone. And he had a thesis submission, and he worked for 2 years for that, and out of nowhere he will disappear. And he had to, and he planned to work from home at that time. So from our perspective, it doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, so
Okay.
What has this past week been like for you and your family?
It's totally devastating, and we are passing a very painful times because police or concerned authority didn't provide any clue what could have happened, and it's unbelievable that they can be disappeared out of nowhere. So we don't know. Like we have no clue on what can happen to them. We just hope for the best and praying.
Only thing I want to know right now, why did this happen? How did this happen? When did this happen? Let's continue.
That they will come back.
And both of them, are from Bangladesh and family there. Have they heard anything?
Okay, police informed them about these situations, both Brish's family and Jami's family, but they have also very painful conditions. So, and they also requested concerned authority to check CCTV footage or call log. And Bangladesh Embassy also reached FBI and has sent a request to inquire about the missing individuals.
I can hear the exhaustion in your voice. I know this really has to have been such a tough week for you. What do you and your family have planned next as far as how to proceed in the search?
Actually, we are trusting on the police, and they have informed us that they are trying their best, and we also hope and we also believe in that. So, and I think we have to wait or keep patience and what comes out of investigation.
Absolutely. Zubair Ahmed, wishing you and your family the very best. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time.
Thank you so much for your time as well.
All right, right now.
All right, so that was the interview with the brother of the missing person, Zamil Iman, who is a doctoral student at the University of South Florida, last spotted at his home on Avalon Heights Boulevard in Tampa. Nahida Bristi, last seen on April 16th as well, at the NES building on USF's campus. What's interesting to me is that these two are friends, and they both were last seen in different places, but obviously their disappearance is linked. So they both went missing on the same day, but they also say that there's no indication that there's any foul play involved. Now, you did hear Limon's brother say that he was asked to give a DNA sample. That's an interesting note in this particular search and this particular investigation, as well as the fact that these two were romantically linked at some point in the past, whether or not they were in a relationship. But it sounds, based on what we are hearing now, is that they are just friends. By all indications so far from what we've heard on this story, is that these two are friends and have remained friends. They are both from Bangladesh. Somebody asked in the comment section on TikTok what they were studying. We have that here for you. Let's start with Bristi. Bristi on the left, studying chemical engineering. Liman, pursuing a degree right now in geography, environmental science, and policy. So both of them looking to complete their graduate degrees at the University of South Florida. Liman, from what we have heard, because we've talked to more people connected to him, extremely punctual, very serious about his academic life. And you would imagine it's the same for Bristi, given where they are in their particular studies, nearing a graduate degree, nearing a doctorate. That's massively significant as far as the amount of schooling that is required to obviously reach that point. So I think it's fair to say that they take their academics quite seriously. But the search effort has intensified tonight, with these two now being labeled as endangered, and the search effort's expanding not just Hillsborough County, but into Pinellas County. Pinellas County, for those of you who don't know, is the neighboring county in the Tampa Bay area. It's the home of St. Petersburg, really the two biggest and most populous counties in Tampa Bay, and two of the more populous counties in the state of Florida are Hillsborough and Pinellas counties. Obviously, we have a lot of different metros in the state of Florida, from Miami all the way up to Jacksonville, Orlando. But in Tampa Bay, Hillsborough and Pinellas County are two of the most populated counties that we have, and the search efforts in full swing in both of those particular counties. What we are going to do now is we are going to start to take some comments for just a couple of minutes. We're probably going to go for 3 to 4 more minutes. So if you have a comment about this story, put "Hey JB" with your comment, and I can answer your questions. The only way that we can see your comments, I don't believe that we have YouTube comments turned on at the moment. I could be wrong. Because of that, and those haven't been switched on, what we're going to do is just exclusively take questions from Facebook Live and TikTok Live. So if you have a question about this story, or an observation, or something you want to share, use "Hey JB" with your comment. We'll animate it up on screen. It's really important. You see it on the bottom of your screen. It's really important the share count gets as high as possible. Detectives need your help. Family members need your help. The USF campus community needs your help. These two very well need your help. So shares and getting this spread out on social media far and wide. We know how critical these hours can be in the immediate aftermath of one person, let alone two, going missing. So somebody might have seen these two on a roadway, on an interstate. They could have left the state of Florida by now. We do not know where they are. They could be anywhere, and that's why spreading this picture far and wide on social media is so critically important. Somebody's asking about ICE. These two have not been deported. That was made clear by authorities. There is no deportation that has occurred of these two. These two have come to the United States from Bangladesh, so that, of course, is only natural to be in our comment section, given that there have been deportations that have taken place in this country, of course. And no, we have been told definitively that these two have not been deported. Let's get to some of the other comments. You have to use Hey JB with your comment for me to be able to animate it on screen. I can read them aloud out of the comment section, but I can't actually put your profile picture and your username on our stream, on our live stream and on the screen itself, unless you use Hey JB. It's just the system that we use here so that you're communicating with us that you want your comment, your name, your profile picture up on our live stream. Somebody asking whether or not they are Muslim. I do not know their religion. It was not specified. Let's see. And if there are no more questions or comments, Sarah wants to know, did they have roommates? That's a great question. I don't know if they had roommates. I do not believe that they had on-campus housing. I can only actually speak for Limon, who had a home on Avalon Heights Boulevard in Tampa, but I do not believe he was a dorm. Whether or not he had roommates at that location, it's not entirely clear. Mahita Bristi, we also do not know where she was residing at the time of her disappearance, nor do we know whether or not she had roommates. You would imagine that anybody that lived with these two, neighbors even, I'm sure, have been approached by police. I would imagine the surveillance cameras around their residence have been thoroughly examined. You would imagine that, obviously, given that this is a week-long or week-old search and one that has been escalated tonight with these two officially being labeled endangered, you would imagine that that investigators have gone through really the basics here, which is talking to any roommates, talking to family members, talking to neighbors, talking to even college professors and classmates and so on and so forth, trying to do everything they can to find out if any one of these two would give any reason why they could just vanish off the face of the earth. It's a last call. This is a last call for questions and comments before we have to wrap up the live stream. So again, hey JB, if you want your comment to be featured, or if you just have a question, I'm just going to read them aloud out of the chat. Zane says, did they go missing on foot or with a vehicle? That's an interesting question, actually. There is no mention of a vehicle. So often when you have a missing persons case, it's be on the lookout for this red SUV or this black sedan, so on and so forth. There is no vehicle description attached to the missing persons report, and therefore we have no idea as to whether or not they went missing on foot or whether or not it was connected to a vehicle. Zane wants to know, how do we know that they are endangered? Great question. It was sent to local media by detectives tonight. That was the update. They would not tell us why they believe that these two are now endangered. What caused the escalation? What changed in their investigation to lead them to believe that these two are now endangered? They wouldn't share that with us. They said don't expect any more details tonight. We'll likely learn more at some point tomorrow based on where the investigation stands tomorrow. But as of tonight, this has become a story where your help on social media is critically important. Shares, exposure, word of mouth, anything that you can do. We do this in the Stream Center all the time with missing persons cases, asking people to share so that the word gets out. I don't care if you screenshot this screen. I don't care if you find another post. Doesn't matter if it comes from WFLA or anybody else, me or otherwise. Doesn't matter. The whole point is that we're trying to get these images out there and increase awareness for these two and their families and friends.
Right.
And if there are no more questions or comments in the chat, we're going to wrap this up. I do not see. Lila says, have there been any monetary demands? No. Monetary demands, that would be in if there was a known abduction that had taken place, a kidnapping. There's no evidence of that we are aware of as far as local media. So for all we know, these two just vanished. We don't know. And they did say that there's no foul play suspected. So no monetary demands because there's no evidence right now of an abduction, a kidnapping that had taken place with these two. We just covered this authentically. Why are they saying endangered? They will not tell us. They hope to reveal, or we hope that they disclose more information on that tomorrow. I think there's enough on this story that tells us that there might be tomorrow we might get some more information. This was the update tonight on this story, that these two are now officially endangered or considered to be endangered by local investigators, and they say that updates will not be coming tonight. It will be in all likelihood tomorrow. That's going to do it for our live stream. Again, click on the share button. We're trying to get the word out, or do whatever you'd like. Share an article, a picture. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, their post, whatever it may be, anything to help these two get found safe and sound and return to their families. And we appreciate it here as we do everything we can to assist local law enforcement and the families of these two. I'm JB Buno. Thanks so much for joining us, and our live stream will continue here shortly. From the Stream Center, we are signing off. Coverage will continue tomorrow with the latest developments, both on air and online, at WFLA.com. Thanks so much for joining us.
Okay, we're gonna go to the next clip.
On a scene here, this was a SWAT situation. SWAT and also other authorities are still on scene here. Again, the barricade situation is over. I do want to note here that yes, this is connected to, again, the two missing students from USF, right, the two doctoral students who went missing, but the suspect that was barricaded inside, officials tell me, is not affiliated with the university and is not a student, right, but the situation is still connected to the two missing students. So a lot of questions here, right? One suspect is in custody, but that suspect, right, is not one of the two missing students. So the search does continue for those two missing students, and we still have a lot to get to here. You know, it's a pretty quiet scene around here. Residents in the Lake Forest area are across the street because the scene was deemed dangerous for them to go to, but they have been very optimistic, leaving everything in the hands of the authorities, and that feeling, as we can say now, was warranted, right, because one suspect is in custody. JB?
Victoria Lucas reporting for us at the scene. Victoria, do you have any notion as to how long this scene lasted and really when this began? Let's go through the timeline here as to when the response, how long you've been at the scene, when the response actually began, and how long this barricaded suspect was the subject of a SWAT operation.
Yeah, so as far as exact times, we know the SWAT call came in at exactly 10:36 this morning, and Hillsborough County Sheriff officials tell me their authorities were on scene just a little bit before, right, an hour before they approximate, and then our crews got on scene around 10:45. So it's almost noon at this hour, correct? So we're talking nearly a 3-hour situation here going on at Brewsby Down Boulevard and the Lake Forest Drive. Just before going live with you, officials say, they thought they were going to be here for a long time because this was a barricaded situation. But now, nearly 3 hours later, a suspect is in custody.
Do we know anything about how this came to an end and the
How did this come to be?
Where they are? Have they been transported from the scene? Are they still at the scene? What do we know about the particulars as to how this came to an end?
Welcome to the Black Capture Show, the #1 show for founders, execs, and entrepreneurs who are scaling
There you go.
scene. What do we know about the particulars as to how this came to an end?
Very limited information here, JB. I can tell you that when I was live with you, the minute I went live with you, one of the authorities came walking through and mouthed to me, "It is over," right? So I just got this information minutes to you. We don't know how this person, got into custody. We don't even know if it is a male or a female. That information was not given to us, was not going to be told to us at that time, right? So still very much limited information here. But again, we do know a suspect is in custody, and the scene is about to clear out here, and traffic is also picking up.
Victoria, we'll let you get back to it. I know that you're talking with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office there. I know that you're talking with various people that are walking by and might have seen something. So we'll let you get back to collecting information out there. But stick around because we'll probably be coming back to you in a little bit. Victoria Lucas there at the scene where, once again, if you're just joining us, the barricaded suspect is in custody. The words Victoria said a moment ago, it is over. But what I want to do now is I want to take you to another scene. We just got a drone up in the air, and I'm going to ask for a location as to where this is because I'm not sure. I'm going to ask Stream Center producer Garrett Phillips to tell us exactly where this is because we have multiple developing scenes now as we look at this full screen here. This is Drone 8. This is live in the air, and we're looking here at several authority vehicles, law enforcement vehicles that are here that's Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. Whether or not this particular scene is directly connected to the missing USF students, we'll find out. I'm sorry? Okay. So, Garrett, what's that? Alright, we're going to mute mics for a second. So let's break this down for people because this is a developing story, one that we're getting a lot of information thrown at us from different angles, and we're going to explain where we are. This morning on the Howard Franklin Bridge, that's the bridge between Pinellas and Hillsborough counties. Hillsborough is where Tampa is, for those of you joining us outside the viewing area. There was a massive presence with law enforcement that backed up traffic for a considerable amount of time affecting the morning commute. Early this morning, I was working the phones and talked to sources who informed to me that it is believed to be connected to the missing USF students. That's what we were told. That's what I was told on the phone this morning. So let's go here to the video. I think I actually have the video in this. That's the video from the SWAT scene. This is the video from this morning taken by one of our employees, a member of our assignment desk, as they were coming in. So this is hours old, but this shows the initial response by law enforcement as they were getting to the scene. And again, after we were able to work the phones a little bit, I was able to talk to a source who informed me that this is, as of now, believed to be connected to the missing USF students. What exactly that means and why the focus is on the bridge itself, That is still unclear at this time. We have an entire newsroom here. I'll point it out here to my right. The newsroom, the WFLA newsroom right now is everyone working the phones trying to get information on this particular story. But we haven't brought this up yet. Let's show everybody what we're talking about here. Actually, this is the first video, Garrett. So I think this is
a video that was taken, I believe, overnight. This was what we were using earlier on our 11 o'clock midday news.
This is what I want to focus in on right there, the two missing students. And we'll go to the 101 on this for those of you who are unfamiliar with this story. Nahida Bristi and Zamil Liman, 27-year-old students at the University of South Florida.
Both of them are 27.
Students, of course, pursuing their graduate degree. They are missing and endangered, according to police. They disappeared on Thursday, April 16th. That's 8 days. Zamil was last seen in the NES building of the University of South Florida on campus here in Tampa, while Nahida was last seen at her home. Why they disappeared, completely unknown.
Yeah, why?
And how they were able to just vanish, also completely unknown. But this is a significant missing that the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office has been working on with local authorities over the last week plus. And of course, we get the update last night. We were on stream with you last night that the two were believed to be missing and endangered now. Not just missing, but missing and endangered. And then we get the significant updates this morning with multiple scenes. Again, if you're just joining us, what we're going to do, we'll hit the touchscreen here and we'll show you this particular scene where the SWAT situation is. We understand it. The SWAT operation has come to an end because a suspect that is barricaded or was barricaded, that situation has come to a conclusion. It is over, but the status of the suspect is unclear at this time. The big question is, how is this barricaded suspect connected to the missing USF students? That is something that is entirely unclear to us at this point. We've just been informed that this is connected to the case that we've been covering for a week plus. We'll continue to monitor the comment section. I'm here with Senior Center producer Garrett Phillips. I'm JD Buno. We have Victoria Lucas at the scene as well. And we've been working this all morning long. But again, if you're just joining us, the SWAT operation is over in respect to the barricaded subject that was connected to the missing USF students. And perhaps we can update some of the text on the bottom of the screen, Garrett, to let people know that the SWAT scene and the barricaded subject, well, actually, I mean, it's still technically accurate, Garrett, but maybe if you can explore an update, that would be great. So let's give everybody a location here. This is the Lake Forest community, about a mile away from the University of South Florida. And civilians are being asked to avoid the area. So as we have our photographers here zooming in, what I'll try to do, let's go split screen here, because we have two shots.
Every day, billions of queries are run across petabytes of data to power AI applications, train
from the location. So we have angle 1 and angle 2. We have multiple cameras on site. And really, both of our photographers are zoomed in on really the same thing right now. A Hillsborough County Sheriff SWAT tactical vehicle that is there on site. And again, they're focused on this particular section of the Lake Forest community. And clearly, traffic is once again flowing at a relatively normal pace. But we haven't seen a suspect in handcuffs. We haven't seen anybody being taken into custody. Let's bring up that shot here again. But we have multiple scenes connected to the missing students. Again, if you're just joining us, the scene at the bridge, which we don't have live video of simply because it's a difficult to access location. It's the Howard Franklin Bridge, which has been a mess all morning traffic-wise. It's very hard to get to. But when you do drive by it, it looks something like this. Multiple lanes of traffic closed for a heavy police response that, again, sources indicate to me is connected in some way, shape, or form to the missing USF students. People just want to know where these two are, ultimately. They want to know what happened to...
where are they and what happened, of course.
These two when they went missing 8 days ago. Again, the disappearance of Dr. Samil Iman and Nahida Brisky, 27 years old. So, as soon as we get any new information, we will pass it along here on stream. What we're going to do now is we're going to pay attention to the comment section. There were a lot of questions and speculation on social media this morning. Perhaps we can address some of that speculation. All you have to do is use Hey JB or Hey Garrett with your question or comment in the social media chat, so Facebook Live, YouTube Live, TikTok Live, and we can animate your comment on screen. So we'll look for those comments starting now. Let's go back to the live picture here, a split screen. Multiple camera angles from the scene of where the barricaded subject was taken into custody here in Tampa, Florida. Bring up some audio. Listen in. Signal up. Bring the audio down a little bit. Bring the audio down a bit to get to some of the questions. And they're coming in on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. And again, only with Hey JB or Hey Garrett can we animate comments. Hey JB, do you know if they were in any kind of relationship, that he may have kidnapped her and disappeared socially? So we do know a little bit through Zamil's brother that the two had been romantically linked in the past, but remained friends. That's, as we understand it, that is the extent of the relationship. That these two were close, they are friends, but they did have feelings. The exact words were feelings for each other at a point in the past that we don't know what the timeline looks like. We don't know if these two dated at one point in the past, as far as recent past, or if it was years ago. They are both from Bangladesh. They came over to the United States from Bangladesh and attending school at the University of South Florida, and both pursuing doctorates. So that's really the extent of the relationship. But these two, from the beginning of the missing persons alert going out, have been linked, even though they disappeared from different locations. We had Zamil, who had disappeared from, I believe it was from campus, and then Nahida disappeared from home. That is, but still they were linked. They were said to be linked from the beginning, because they disappeared same day, same time. Any other comments or questions? You can go and use HJB in the comment section, and we'll try to bring it up with a better angle here that I'm going to show everybody. So this is clearly becoming a scene at the area with a lot of different vehicles. Okay, so this is actually a great shot. We're zoomed in now, near the home on Lake Forest Drive. I'm going to bring this up on a map because I want to just kind of see this on a map. But
JB, while you're looking at that too, just wanted to update you. HCSO Sheriff's Office has said that on X, the platform there, basically shared an update about 3 minutes ago saying that the Sheriff's Office responded to a barricaded subject, as they put it, connected to the missing USF students in the Lake Forest community near Bruce B. Downs Boulevard and Lake Forest Drive. The situation has been resolved. One individual is in custody, and that they said
okay, somebody is in custody.
Will be shared as they become available. So obviously we know Victoria Lucas on the scene had already reported this, but just confirmation finally that they have shared that publicly now.
Now we have Drone 8 in the air, and let me be clear about this shot from Drone 8. To be connected to the missing USF students, but it is unclear at this time. There's a lot of Pinellas County Sheriff's vehicle. We told you earlier about the video from the Howard Franklin Bridge this morning, and again, sources indicating to me that the stories connected, the missing USF students are connected to what was unfolding on the bridge. Now you have this scene that is developing nearby. We're trying to sort through what exactly this is, and as soon as we have it, we'll let you know.
Moment when the power goes out that most people never really think about. It doesn't start with chaos, it starts with silence. The hum of your home disappears, the lights go out, and for a few seconds, everything just feels.
Let's get you back to.
Good afternoon, everyone. How's everybody
We
doing?
have multiple angles now to this. Let's explain what we're looking at. We're looking there at the street sign, Lake Forest Drive, and this is in a community near the University of South Florida, the Lake Forest community. It is right here. You can see that we're at two different Zoom lengths right now. Where we began this live stream, seconds before we began the live stream, Victoria Lucas on scene was told that the barricaded subject is in custody. The words were, "It's over." So if there was any standoff or any operation that was underway with SWAT trying to get into the home and trying to get access to the barricaded suspect and bring that person into custody, it was over somewhat quickly. What's unclear is when exactly SWAT got on scene and how long the barricaded subject was barricaded. We're trying to get some details on that, but it was over right before we began this live stream. So now you can see on the left side of your screen a very large contingent of investigators with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, and then we have the Bruce B. Downs Boulevard wide shot there on the right. Our two dedicated photographers are working hard right now to get the best angles possible and zooming in past the police perimeter that obviously has been set up here on Bruce B. Downs Boulevard. So we'll be patient, allow our photographers to get set up. I believe it's hot out there. Meteorologist Rebecca Barry is here to my right. What's the temperature out there right now? 79? Okay, it's not terrible. Low humidity, so sometimes these scenes can get very, very hot, and it can be a lot of extra work or a lot of more difficult work for our photographers working a breaking news situation like this. But 79 degrees, low humidity here in Tampa, Florida today. So we haven't seen anyone in handcuffs. We haven't seen anyone being taken away from the scene. We do not know where the suspect is. We do not know who they are, whether. I believe that the only thing that we were told about them is that they're not a student. Is that correct, Garrett? I believe that that's what we were told.
Right, yeah, I do remember hearing that they were not affiliated with USF as being a student, as far as I'm aware. I do not know if they have said if they are related in any other way to the school by other means, but as far as I know, they are not a student there.
Yeah, confirmed, not a student at USF. We don't know the gender of the individual. We don't know the age of the individual. We don't know if this is a friend or if this person has any connection to the missing USF students. But we're zooming in, and you're seeing units in tactical gear there on the right, underneath or near a tent that was set up by the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. Multiple large-scale units on scene, including a SWAT vehicle, obviously on scene with the deployment of SWAT for this particular police response. And I'll keep an eye out on the chat for questions, comments using Hey JB in the comment section. But if you're just joining us, this is a breaking, developing story regarding the two missing USF doctoral students, 27 years old, Nahida Bristi, Zamil Liman. There's been tremendous concern because these two I believe Zamil's brother said, very punctual, super focused on his studies, extremely dedicated to his academics, and very unlike him to just go off grid like this and to just disappear. And to disappear with somebody who he was romantically linked with, Nahida Bristi, as we understand it, the two are currently friends, but might have had feelings for each other in the past. That, of course, adding a lot of raising a lot of alarm bells for family and friends that the two went missing on the same day from the University of South Florida. So this has been a missing persons case over the last 8 days here in Tampa Bay, Florida, and we have significant developments in this missing persons case today with multiple scenes unfolding. And one more time, because we're constantly engaging a new audience, let's show everybody this video. This was from this morning. This is a heavy police response on the Howard Franklin Bridge between Hillsborough and Pinellas counties here in Tampa Bay. That's really the two counties where St. Pete and Tampa call home, the two major cities in the Tampa Bay region. And we were working the phones this morning. I was working the phones, and a source indicated to me that this is connected to the missing USF students. How it is connected is still unclear. We've been pressing for answers and trying to work the phones as much as possible, but the details of this investigation right now are so sensitive, and so much is happening all in real time right now. As we work the phones, they want to say more, but they can't, given that this is a rapidly evolving situation. So when things begin to calm down and investigators are able to fully grasp these multiple scenes, they're going to be able to talk to us more. We're just in that moment right now where there's so much happening in really in multiple areas. Also, which makes this really interesting, Garrett, is that the Howard Franklin Bridge is always unique. Really, any bridge between two counties is unique because, okay, is this the Hillsborough County side of the bridge? Is this the Pinellas County side of the bridge? Whose jurisdiction is this? Not to mention, if they do have to get to the water below and they have to get units on the water, again, is that Hillsborough County? Is that Pinellas County? Sometimes an assisting agency like the Coast Guard will be brought in to assist if necessary. But these can get pretty complex when you're talking about right along county lines and whose jurisdiction, whose response it should be, whether it's one county A or county B. But we're seeing here, I think, the vehicles, we've seen a lot of FHP vehicles, which is state police, so it's their jurisdiction, right? But with a criminal case like this...
Yeah, I know we had heard that there was some Hillsborough County officials on scene as well, and so that was a lot of the question that was raised this morning is, okay, if Hillsborough County officials are on scene, you know, maybe leading or at least participating in whatever this investigation on the bridge is, well, they are also the lead investigators, obviously, on the missing USF students, and so that was the first kind of link that people started to make speculative at the time, of course, of could these two scenes be connected, because is this, as you mentioned, on the Pinellas County side, and if it is, why are Hillsborough County officials there? Well, maybe it's because of the students being involved. Who knows what actually the truth of it is, because unfortunately I don't know the county line as far as where on the bridge it crosses either. But yeah, as you mentioned, sources obviously telling you earlier that this is connected to those USF students, and you're kind of just hoping at this point, you know, as somebody who has followed the story, as we all have since it started breaking a couple of days ago, that this is going to be hopefully a better outcome than people are expecting.
What ultimately we want is we want a happy ending to this story. We are so hopeful that Nahida and Zamil are found okay. We're awaiting updates. We have a really good shot here. Let's show you a live picture from the scene. Once again, this is the Lake Forest community at Bursby Downs Boulevard. This is not too far away from the University of South Florida, where a SWAT operation has come to an end with a barricaded subject in custody. The HCSO, Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, confirming to WFLA News Channel 8 that the subject and this SWAT operation connected to the two missing USF students. They would not go beyond that. All they are saying right now is that the missing students and the barricaded subject are connected, and we're waiting for details, we're waiting for information. I should probably point out to our audience here, because this is really significant, and I can provide some local context here. Hillsborough County Sheriff is Chad Chronister, very much in Chad's playbook to walk over to these cameras when there is an update that he feels comfortable with. There won't necessarily be a massive announcement of a press conference. We've seen it so many times. We've covered developing news stories and breaking scenes like this one, and we'll just, out of nowhere, we'll see Sheriff Chronister walk over directly to a camera like this one and say, I have some information to share, and he'll just go. Basically what I'm saying is, an impromptu press conference from Chad Chronister should not be ruled out. It could happen at any moment, and as soon as they, you can see right now they're all huddled up. A lot of these details are being sorted through in real time. The moment that they have a grasp on the information that they can publicly disclose, believe me, Florida is a state where they're not going to wait till next Tuesday to reveal it. Most states are really quick with getting information out to the media, but especially in Florida, and I've covered news in I think 8 states, Florida is probably the best when it comes to releasing information to the media and to the public at large quickly. Florida is big on transparency and informing the people and telling people what exactly is going on. However, there are some potential complications, and without speculating too much, I don't want to delve too much into the realm of speculation. We don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but it's best, and it's procedural in many law enforcement agencies, for a family member to be informed of what is going on, rather than them turning on the news, clicking on their remote control, and learning it that way. So the flow of information is really important for a law enforcement agency like the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. Whether or not they have to communicate updates to the family, that's unclear, but clearly right now with this huddle, Garrett, they're getting all their ducks in a row and making sure that everything is squared away from a operational standpoint.
Yeah, as you mentioned, we don't want to speculate about what that could mean as far as informing family, but even if that's not what they are currently concerned about, we're talking about at least 2 different scenes that are, potentially connected, and obviously being handled by 2 different sections of the sheriff's office, because you can't be in 2 places at one time. So if there is a, kind of a delay of information coming through, it could simply be because you have those 2 different scenes that you're trying to work through, trying to make sure you have all the facts, because I'm sure the last thing that Sheriff Chronister or any, media relations official wants to do is step up to the mic and not have answers for all the questions they're going to get. They're going to get questions about this barricaded scene, but also about what's happening on the bridge, especially now that, word is starting to get out that those 2 could be related. So they probably want to make sure they have all the information from both scenes that they could have before they get in front of a microphone and tell you exactly what happened here today. That's, I would assume, probably their first concern in terms of how it relates to getting information out.
We are awaiting updates, and again, just from experience, I do not think we are going to have to wait terribly long for an update. And that's just, that's not me hearing anything. That's just the experience in working with this particular law enforcement agency, with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. In fact, the public information team is predominantly made up of former WFLA reporters. So we have a very common understanding of how the public is seeking information, seeking updates, and wanting those updates as quickly as possible. But we also, on our end, totally respectful of the process and understanding that they are working through a tremendous amount of detail right now. Clearly, with this scene, with the scene this morning in Tampa Bay at the Howard Franklin Bridge, a lot to sort through. So we are going to, see? Look at that. Sometimes I speak things into existence. That's interesting. News Channel 8 being informed just a moment ago that a press conference is in the works. So this is like a heads up. And we get these heads up quite a bit with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, even with the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, just to make sure that all the media is together in one place so that they can all meet in one location. All the cameras can be pointed to the sheriff or whomever is going to be speaking, whether it's a PIO, to distribute that information. And so we've just officially been given a heads up that a press conference is in the works. We believe, and I'll ask my team, because I know they're listening in the newsroom, to confirm whether or not that's at this particular scene here or at a different scene, a different site. Well, I know we have Victoria Lucas, a reporter on the ground, collecting information right here at Bruce B. Downs Boulevard. However, we don't have a location for that press conference that we can pass along yet. But as I said, Garrett, I can almost see it. Connoisseurs or PIO is going to emerge from this scene, head straight over across Bruce B. Downs Boulevard, past this police perimeter, and just, we'll be ready to listen in. So it's just a matter of when that exactly happens.
Right, and we're going to continue to monitor it. Obviously, I'm looking through social media for the sheriff's office, trying to figure out if they're going to share anything here. Obviously, if they have a press conference that they are planning to hold, you probably expect they will not share anything online officially until they have that press conference, probably something they'll hold back on. So we're just going to keep monitoring it and see what's going on here. Obviously, it's been about a week, if I remember correctly, since the
April 16th, 8 days,
first went missing. Last night, obviously, they were declared or told, it was told to us, rather, that they are considered endangered by the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. Then, of course, this morning now, we've got, obviously, the lane closures on the Howard Franklin that we have been told were in connection. That was, I believe, first reported this morning sometime around like 7:40 or 7:45 by WFLA. And then, of course, obviously after that, now we have this scene that we're looking at here. That started sometime around 10:36 in the morning, I believe, is when SWAT was first called to the scene. And then it was announced that the subject that was barricaded is in custody. That was announced at 11:55 a.m., so just about half an hour ago now, as we have been monitoring this scene. So that's kind of the timeline of where this escalation has been, because, for that week, right, that we had been waiting, until last night, there really wasn't a lot of movement on this case, on these missing students. It had just kind of been something that everybody obviously had been concerned about, and we're asking for tips on. But really, last night is when it started to ramp up here.
Hold on, interesting. Let's just talk about what we're seeing here. A couple of new things have just happened in the last minute. That is clearly a SWAT team roving drone. You don't really, you don't get to see this too often. So this is, they are quite literally rolling back, remote controlling this roving unit and bringing it right back.
Backyard adventures should feel like fun. I think that's on the calls. Not.
It looks like it's following them. It's interesting. I'm just getting dog vibes.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a small ass.
No one was holding like a remote control, in their hand. It looked like the unit was following them. Like, I wonder if it's part of the team.
I wonder if they have a handheld remote that is kind of a tracking device
that's going to
follows.
Follow mode.
Not really sure how those work. I do know that they use those obviously for what are considered high risk operations, like in this individual case, obviously barricaded suspects or subjects that are considered a high risk to, rather than send obviously a SWAT officer in, send in that drone to kind of do some reconnaissance there.
All right, something new. Let's show you this, okay? This is the Howard Franklin Bridge, live, okay? Our team just informed me that within the last 90 seconds, a boat at this scene that we've been talking about this morning, went under the bridge and is now on site. Now, I'm going to ask our team to confirm whether or not it was a law enforcement boat, but a boat is now in the water in the area of where this law enforcement presence was quite large. And again, sources indicating to me this morning that it is a connection to, that this scene in particular is connected to the missing USF students in some way. We don't know how yet, but in some way. Clearly some high winds there.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what we're seeing is traffic cameras there.
Ah, come on. Damn it. Oh. Every time. Damn it. Let me go back in. Hold on, y'all. Having technical difficulties. Hold on, hold on.
It looks like it's
There we
following
go.
them. I'm kind of. It's interesting. I'm just getting dog vibes.
Yeah,
No one was holding like a remote control, in their hand. It looked like the unit was following them, like
Yeah, I
it was
wonder
just
if it
part of the team.
I wonder if they have a handheld remote that is kind of a tracking device that the
It's just gonna
robot
follow.
follows.
Follow mode.
Not really sure how those work. I do know that they use those obviously for what are considered high-risk operations, like in this individual case, obviously barricaded suspects or subjects that are considered a high risk to, rather than send obviously a SWAT officer in, send in that drone to kind of do some reconnaissance there.
All right, something new. Let's show you this, okay? This is the Howard Franklin Bridge live, okay? Our team just informed me that within the last 90 seconds, a boat at this scene that we've been talking about this morning, went
Okay.
under the bridge and is now on site. Now, I'm going to ask our team to confirm whether or not it was a law enforcement boat, but a boat is now in the water in the area.
Okay, so
where this law enforcement
they're in
presence
body
is quite
recovery
large. And again,
mode.
sources indicating to me this
Okay.
morning that it is a connection to that this scene in particular is connected to the missing USF students in some way. We don't know how yet, but in some way.
Yes, they in body
we had clearly
recovery.
some high winds there.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what we're seeing is traffic cameras. They're posted obviously quite high, so that you can get a better view of the traffic on the bridge. And when it's windy like that, that's kind of what you see there.
Being told that the boat
Yeah.
had police lights on it, so
I was hoping these two people would have been found alive, but based on everything I'm hearing, these two people unfortunately will not be found alive. Has they said that there's a boat in the water and and there's a bridge going through this body of water, which 9 times out of 10 tells me that is body recovery, and most likely there's a dumped body in the water. Most likely. Again, I wish I had better news, but unfortunately, at this time, I do not have better news. Let's get back into it. One second, y'all. 1 second.
I love promoting our delicious baked goods. Thanks to OptiSigns, all of my menus and promotions are ready.
Those obviously for what are considered high-risk operations, like in this individual case, obviously barricaded suspects or subjects
I'll
that
be right back.
are considered a high risk to, rather than send obviously a SWAT officer in, send in that drone to kind of do some reconnaissance there.
All right, so something new. Let's show you this, okay? This is the Howard Franklin Bridge live, okay? Our team just informed me that within the last 90 seconds, a boat at this scene that we've been talking about this morning, went under the bridge and is now on site. Now, I'm going to ask our team to confirm whether or not it was a law enforcement boat, but a boat is now in the water in the area of where this law enforcement presence was quite large, and again, sources indicating to me this morning that it is a connection to, that this scene in particular is connected to the missing USF students in some way. We don't know how yet, but in some way. Yeah, clearly some high winds there.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what we're seeing is traffic cameras. They're posted obviously quite high, so you can get a better view of the traffic on the bridge, and when it's windy like that, that's kind of what you see there.
Being told that the boat had police lights on it, so all right, so we'll keep an eye on that, even though it looks like, you know, it feels when you watch that shot like there's an earthquake happening, but all right, so I have not seen Sheriff Chronister yet. We do have, oh, that's interesting. You can look at that there on the vest, Sheriff Negotiator. So you have to wonder if negotiations were at play with the barricaded subject when they were taken into custody, but clearly a Sheriff's Office negotiator there in Tampa at Bruce B. Downs Boulevard.
I'm sure that's one of the first things they try to do when you have a barricaded subject is to have somebody who can talk them out of the situation, rather than, obviously, you don't. The last thing you want to do is send in people who are going to try and take them out by force, because that can obviously be a very dangerous situation. You'd obviously rather have the subject or suspect, whatever the case may be, give themselves up.
Another live picture here from the house.
Not again. Try this one more time.
What is a doctor blade? A doctor, scraper, or roll cleaning blade is designed.
A boat at this scene that we've been talking about this morning went under the bridge and is now on site. Now I'm going to ask our team to confirm whether or not it was a law enforcement boat, but a boat is now in the water in the area of where this law enforcement presence was quite large, and again, sources indicating to me this morning that it is a connection to, that this scene in particular is connected to the missing USF students in some way. We don't know how yet, but in some way. Yeah, clearly some high winds there.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what we're seeing is traffic cameras. They're posted obviously quite high, so you can get a better view of the traffic on the bridge, and when it's windy like that, that's kind of what you see there.
Being told that the boat had police lights on it, so all right, so we'll keep an eye on that, even though it looks like, you know, it feels when you watch that shot like there's an earthquake happening, but all right, so I have not seen Sheriff Chronister yet. We do have, oh, that's interesting. You can look at that there on the vest, Sheriff Negotiator. So you have to wonder if negotiations were at play with the barricaded subject when they were taken into custody, but clearly a Sheriff's Office negotiator there in Tampa at Bruce B. Downs Boulevard.
I'm sure that's one of the first things they try to do when you have a barricaded subject is to have somebody who can talk them out of the situation, rather than, obviously, you don't. The last thing you want to do is send in people who are going to try and take them out by force, because that can obviously be a very dangerous situation. You'd obviously rather have the subject or suspect, whatever the case may be, give themselves up.
Another live picture here from the Howard Franklin Bridge, 275. This clearly shows what has been a major source of frustration this morning because the scene on the bridge connected to the missing USF students has caused major delays. And people might think this to be insignificant. Okay, what is traffic next to two missing students? And we, of course, totally understand that sentiment. But you have to understand the Howard Franklin Bridge is a
Why now you gonna mess up on me? I'm gonna try you one more time. Try this one more time.
My condolences to those who bought this 4K mini projector before because it's now on a massive discount. I've tested basically every mini projector I could buy in this
connection to that this scene in particular is connected to the missing USF students in some way. We don't know how yet, but in some way. Yeah, clearly some high winds there.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what we're seeing is traffic cameras. They're posted obviously quite high, so you can get a better view of the traffic on the bridge, and when it's windy like that, that's kind of what you see there.
Being told that the boat had police lights on it, so all right, so we'll keep an eye on that, even though it looks like, you know, it feels when you watch that shot like there's an earthquake happening. But all right, so I have not seen Sheriff Chronister yet. We do have. Oh, that's interesting. You can look at that there on the vest, Sheriff Negotiator. So you have to wonder if negotiations were at play with the barricaded subject when they were taken into custody, but clearly a Sheriff's Office negotiator there in Tampa at Bruce B. Downs Boulevard.
I'm sure that's one of the first things that you try to do when you have a barricaded subject is to have somebody who can talk them out of the situation rather than, obviously, the last thing you want to do is send in people who are going to try and take them out by force, because that can obviously be a very dangerous situation. You'd obviously rather have the subject or suspect, whatever the case may be, themselves up.
Another live picture here from the Howard Franklin Bridge, 275. This clearly shows what has been a major source of frustration this morning, because the scene on the bridge connected to the missing USF students has caused major delays. And people might think this to be insignificant. Okay, what is traffic next to two missing students? And we, of course, totally understand that sentiment. But you have to understand the Howard Franklin Bridge is a major artery between, really the primary means of transportation between Hillsborough County, Tampa, and Pinellas County, St. Petersburg. So this has been, and people, of course, they shouldn't be, but they are. They're on their phones as they cross the bridge, trying to find out what this is about. They might have seen it on the news this morning, and they're thinking, wait a minute, this can't be an accident. An accident would have been cleaned up relatively quickly, probably within an hour or so. This has been many hours of these lane closures, and they're probably curious as to what's going on. I would imagine this has happened before. People are finding this live stream right now, Garrett, because they just want to know what is the deal with the Howard Franklin Bridge. What is this heavy law enforcement presence that has forced the closure of multiple lanes now into the afternoon hours, not even just the morning hours?
I know that earlier this morning they had talked about there being up to a 2-hour delay for some people traveling on the bridge this morning. I'm not sure that that's gotten any better since then, especially not just looking at this photo here. That looks like, a pretty heavy backup is the best way to put it, hefty backup there. So obviously not something that's fun to be in, but at the same time, as you mentioned, that sentiment of what is traffic compared to, the lives of these two missing students, hopefully still with the possible outcome that they are found safe. Obviously, if that were the outcome, I think anybody who was stuck in that traffic would probably take that type of trade-off.
A smile on the face of this particular Hillsborough County Sheriff Deputy or SWAT team member.
I believe you saw, I don't know if you saw this, but our newsroom is saying that Chief Deputy Joseph Moore is going to be speaking at the press conference.
Okay, so Sheriff Chad Chronister is normally the face that we see, but he might be out of town.
He could possibly be at the other scene.
That's true as well.
That's a possibility as well. So,
but it won't be him that's speaking. And look, it looks like now there's some movement with that. Oh, I think that's a bomb unit there. I just saw bomb on the side of that, so it's the, hold on, oh yeah, that's the bomb disposal unit for the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. I don't know if they're making a U-turn here and they're going to try to leave, but they have the crisis negotiation team, they have the SWAT team, and they have the bomb disposal team here on in the Lake Forest community off of Bruce B. Downs Boulevard.
Yeah, we saw that.
Quite a response.
We saw that drone earlier, I don't want to call it a walking drone, that rolling drone earlier. I wonder if that was part of the bomb unit. I know that, the use of drones to scope out a scene, not saying that there was a bomb involved here, because we obviously don't know that, and that would be speculative, but, those certainly are the types of drones you might see for that type of response, if that was a worry or the case. And who knows if that was actually the worry there, or if they just brought out, basically everyone that they could in an attempt to be prepared for any type of situation that they might have faced today.
So it looks like we now have multiple units in motion, and what this likely is these units packing up and going home. So let's start here with the Hillsborough County Sheriff SWAT vehicle. Looks like they are backing up onto Bruce B. Downs Boulevard and calling it a day, at least for this particular scene.
It's now been about 30 minutes since the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office last shared an update on their X page, where they talked about the subject, the individual that was barricaded, being taken into custody. So they've had some time here, obviously, to collect themselves and collect the different things that they might need from this scene here.
Let's pull down mics. We'll just listen in for a moment.
I love that. You're absolutely right. Okay, so I know that cat is live, so I just want to catch up. That's all I needed. You're good, though. I'm not supposed to be okay.
Hassan Piker grew up in Istanbul, Turkey. Zoran Mondani spent his early childhood in Uganda and South Africa.
Just kind of listening in to some what we're hearing there at the scene. Again, we have multiple cameras there, so let's actually show. I mean, we're basically, both our news crews were sent to the same spot. They were both tasked with getting as close as possible to the unfolding situation before it became a SWAT operation. Oh, and good to see that we have the YouTube chat back. Hello to our YouTube audience. JB, Garrett with you. We have a TikTok audience as well, so we'll just, as proof that we are live on these platforms, saying hi to Stephanie, Joyce, Alana on TikTok Live, saying hello to Deborah, Wings of Creation Lynn on YouTube Live, and then on Facebook Live. We've got Anthony and some others joining us in the comment section as well. At any point in the live stream, if you use HeyJB with your comment, we can bring your comment on screen to answer your question. And speaking of which, to get everybody filled in on what this has been like from just a witness standpoint, let's listen into Victoria Lucas, who spoke to some neighbors nearby as they were watching this scene unfold a short time ago.
So you live across the street in
Yes,
the Lake
I've been
Forest?
there since 1990.
Ever since something like this?
Well, we have helicopters every now and then have come, but not to this extent. But we started to have during the Black Lives Matter riots, they end right over there. When they had them on Fowler, they worked their way right to there, and they were starting to barricade this neighborhood. But other than that, this is the most resources I've ever seen in this neighborhood for something. Well, I'm overheated because we went for an hour and a half hike, and I just want him to go, but things happen. And this is why we have the police to be able to handle this. And I'm glad, because I'm just learning about all this, that they were able to get some information and tips to be able to deal with this. Now I just hope the people come out okay. So if they are rescued, it's worth waiting here, because I don't think we're going to get home for a while.
This is connected to the two students that are missing from USF.
Yes.
27-year-old, so young.
Yeah, doctorate students. Yeah, so I was just looking it up to get more information and stuff. You know, we have a lot of ties to USF here, right? We got professors here, employees here, students here. So I can see we're close. We're less than a 5-minute drive to USF. So while this is crazy, I can see something like this because we are so close to the campus. You never know.
And that was one of the neighbors who spoke to Victoria Lucas a short time ago. We're back here live now, looking at the Hillsborough County from the sheriff's office. Again,
really quickly, can we pull up that live shot of the? I think I can see the boat now on 11.
Oh, it's on 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stand by. Hold on.
Looks like they're about to go under the bridge.
All right. So check this out, folks. Oh, there. Yeah, there it is, right there, bottom right.
And you see those siren lights or the police lights there too. Yeah, you see it. Good catch.
Yeah, they're searching for something in the water.
Law enforcement boat in the water underneath the Howard Franklin Bridge. Now, how is this scene?
Either they're searching or they're recovering bodies from the water.
Exact time I know it was early this morning. A heavy police response, a heavy law enforcement response began to form on the Howard Franklin Bridge between Tampa and St. Petersburg. That's I-275. And there you can see the law enforcement boat now there on the other side. Garrett, see it there on the left?
Yes, yep, yeah, there it is.
So we began working the phones, and a source indicated to me that it was connected to the missing USF students, but they were not able to divulge exactly how it was connected. So we will, of course, keep you posted on this particular scene. This is not an accident that can get cleared in an hour. This is not construction work. There have been people, thousands of people, thousands of drivers, extremely frustrated by this traffic. But this is connected to the missing USF students, and we are awaiting word on exactly how this scene is linked to this scene, the barricaded subject that was taken into custody at the Lake Forest community near the University of South Florida. For those of you just joining us, as far as this subject was taken into custody, we do not know who they are. We do not know their age, any of their demographic. The only thing that we know about this person is that it's connected to the USF students. This person is in custody, and they are not a USF student. That's the only details we've been provided on this. We haven't been told whether or not the barricaded subject was injured or not. The details are extremely scarce here, but we haven't seen an ambulance leave the scene. Normally, if a barricaded subject is taken into custody and there's injuries, of course, the first thing that's going to be done is they're going to either be treated on site or taken to the most local nearby hospital.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people talk about it in chat too, about like, how do we know that this is a connection? And frankly, the answer is it's because the sheriff's office said so. Right? We are only reporting what the sheriff's office has told us, and that is that this was a barricaded subject, that they have some connection to the missing USF students, that they are not a student themselves. And that is all that we know at the time, right? So if you're wondering where we're getting our information from, it's from the sheriff's office. If you're wondering why we don't know more, it's because the sheriff's office has not said more about it yet. So we are currently, like you all are, I'm sure, monitoring the situation as closely as we can, hoping for more information. We do know, as we mentioned previously, that there's a planned press conference. We don't know when it is because we have not been told a time, only that there is a planned press conference that they will speak to the media to hopefully reveal more information about how this is connected to those missing students and maybe possibly also that Howard Franklin Bridge situation that we have been monitoring all morning.
All right, so here's the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office crisis negotiations team. They are now leaving the area. First, we saw the SWAT team leave, now the crisis negotiations team. We also saw what appeared to be the bomb disposal team also getting ready to leave as well.
Zaxby's Fingers and Wings in lemon pepper, garlic parm, and Nashville hot. Who's got the sauce?
Zaxby's.
Ref, you stink.
Lysol knows people think refs stink because of the...
Getting ready to leave as well. And again, awaiting this press conference from Chief Deputy Joseph Marr. I would imagine, and this is just an educated guess, it's going to happen right here, that at some point soon you'll see a contingency of the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office across the street head over to these cameras and begin speaking and sharing details on this story this is a story that has received national attention, international attention. These two being from Bangladesh, studying here in the United States, nearing their doctorate degrees, and going missing for 8 days, uncharacteristic to them, is obviously raised a lot of alarm bells.
Yeah, I'm sure that everyone in the chats, or whether it be on Facebook or YouTube, or whatever the case may be, and I think I can speak for you as well, JB, both of us here in the studio, we are expecting, or we're at least hoping, for more information about how this barricaded subject is connected. I think that's maybe, I don't want to call it the number one question we have, because obviously the number one question is, where are the two missing students, and are they okay? But maybe the number two question that we have currently, based on everything that we've learned today, is, who is this subject? How are they connected to the students? And if they're in any way connected to the school, we know they're not a student themselves, but are they connected to the school in some way, right? We don't want to speculate, but what is this subject's connection to everything here is probably the number one question on everybody's mind, and that's what we're hoping we learn when the Sheriff's Office decides to speak to media, hopefully sooner rather than later at this point.
So, Garrett, you know me to be quite the optimist. I always try to be as hopeful as I can be when it comes to stories like this, but let me point out something to our audience that probably has clicked, but I'm just going to say it out loud because that's what I do. If they were found by now, or if there was any leads, or if there was any hope, I think we would have received that news by now. So the fact that we still don't have any update onto the status and location of Nahida and Zamil, it's just it's not the news you want. It's not the news that you want, and we're hopeful that I'm hopeful that I'm wrong. I'm hopeful that when Chief Deputy Moore speaks, that we get news on a potential lead that could point investigators in the right direction. But
I was going to say, you're hopeful that, as you mentioned, they haven't been found at this point, because if they had been found by now, you would have heard about it. So we're hoping that it's not an alternative, that they found something that, they have to, as you mentioned, contact families for, or a worst case scenario type of situation. You're almost hoping at this point that all they have done is found this subject, and that there is no sight yet of the two students, because then that means that they are still out there to be found, that they maybe are still, alive and well.
There's some really nervous people out there right now that are watching, and okay, so there's some media on the move. I'm curious if they're allowing. They're opening up the perimeter here a bit and allowing them to cross.
I wonder if that's what our other shot there on 6 is. Is that us moving?
Yeah, I'll bring up that shot. It's cutting the black.
Actually, yeah.
So, but the media is crossing the street.
I wonder if that is to get to the staging area where they are going to be speaking to the media.
I think we're next.
Yes, we were just...
Okay, let
Come
me
on a walk
speed
with
this
us
up.
across Bruce B. Downs Boulevard, everybody.
It's still an active scene here. You can see there the lights. We saw earlier the police,
Speed
the
this up a
sheriff's
little bit
office.
more.
I will say this: they haven't been identified publicly yet. I will say that I have a funny feeling that if the barricaded subject was one of the missing people, we would have known by now. It's been a couple of hours since this scene really started to form, and I think we would have found out by 6-7 hours ago. All right, back here.
And it looks like there's a boat. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. Let me go back.
It's just beneath the photo there.
Let me get rid of the photo.
Yep, and you can see that it looks like lights as well there. So more. This is a different boat than the one we saw previously. The one we saw previously was a bit small.
When I decided to finish my RN to BSN, I transferred to University of Phoenix. They made the process simple, and since I didn't have to repeat work I'd already done, I earned my degree faster. Transfer your eligible credits and keep your momentum.
OptiScience lets you instantly transform any screen into a dynamic digital display that can...
Across the street, and...
I'm actually going to speed this up to the press conference. I thought by now we would have had the press conference, but apparently not.
Set up here where obviously
all here in the stream center, by the way. But do we know any specific reason what's going on? To begin momentarily, but that is the suspect, and the barricaded subject that was taken into custody a short time ago.
Chief, thank you for all your questions. And before I had, this was the home of Sean. Questions and discovery.
Let me get back to the very beginning.
Derek, have a look.
Okay, here we go. Here's the start of the press conference.
Garrett, we're not alone, by the way, in looking up prior arrests. Here we go.
I am joined here today by my good friend and University of South Florida Police Department Chief of Police, Chris Daniel. We are here today as our community has been shaken by the disappearance of 2 USF grad students, Nahida and Zamil. I am heartbroken to announce the discovery of human remains discovered on the Howard Franklin Bridge earlier this morning. Just now, those remains were positively identified to Zamil. How did we get here today? We have a suspect in custody. How did that happen? Today at approximately 9 a.m., we received a domestic violence call for service. Units responded. We knew that this was the home of the suspect. Units responded. We were able to take the family out of the residence and get them to safety. At that time, we commanded the suspect to come out to our deputies. He refused. That happened for some time, about 20 minutes or so. Commands were continued to give to the suspect. He did not respond, nor did he come out. At that time, SWAT was activated. SWAT responded, and at approximately 10:36 a.m., SWAT arrived on scene. SWAT then mobilized and commanded the suspect to come out of the residence. At that time, he came out peacefully and was taken into custody. These are the charges of the suspect. The suspect's name is Hisham. The charges we have so far are domestic violence, simple battery, domestic violence, false imprisonment, tampering with evidence, failure to report death to LEO or MEO, and unlawfully hold or move a dead human body in unapproved condition. Let me just take this opportunity to talk to you before we get into questions and before I hand it off to Chief Daniel. You know, Sheriff Cronister's number one priority is to keep this community safe and to locate these 2 USF students. And working collectively with USF Police Department and Chief Daniel, we did that. We looked and we had every stone uncovered between his assets and ours. When I tell you I had hundreds of detectives and deputies and assets looking for Nikita and Zamil, that is the truth. Anywhere between my criminal investigations division, my special investigations division, aviation assets, marine assets, drone operators, and SWAT, and our crisis negotiation team, and our bomb team here today.
Okay, they said they found a guy, but the question is, where's the female at?
This is still an active investigation, so you will have a lot of questions, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. But please understand, I will answer them as best as I can without jeopardizing the investigation we have thus far. I want to thank our partners. I want to thank again, Chief, thank you for all your help. The USF Police Department, the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, the Clearwater Police Department. Everybody came together in this community, in this Bay Area, to try and find a safe resolution for Nahida and Zamil. Chief?
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. I want to restate the sorrow we feel for the families. President Moaz, Lamayam, the leadership staff at USF, the USF Police Department, we really assert safety on campus. We do everything we can to make the campus safe. This is the last thing that we want to happen. Our hearts go out to the families, to the students at USF that knew these other students. And going forward, I just want to thank the chief.
When did breakfast get so bougie? At Hardee's, we're making breakfast so budgety.
And going forward, I just want to thank the chief, all the deputies that came out to help us. It was amazing to see the teamwork, the agencies across the bay that helped us. It wouldn't be for all that help that we would be where we are today. And it's not the ending we hoped for, but we do appreciate the collaboration and the partnerships.
Available for any questions you may have. Great question. So the human remains that we were discovered this morning was one body, and that has been positively identified to Zamil. We are still actively searching for Nahida. And again, I implore the community, if you have any tips of where you've seen her or she's just recently seen, please report it to the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office immediately so we can recover her to safety. But we don't have any indication to think that she is or she is not. We are still actively trying to recover Nahida. The suspect initially, when we made initial contact, was talking. Yesterday we re-interviewed the suspect. He did talk, and then he ended the interview. Right now, currently, he is at our Criminal Investigations Division speaking with detectives. At this time, we have no indications to think that he was not working alone. But again, active investigation. Right now, we don't have any inclination to think that he was working with anybody else. So the suspect, Hisham, was a roommate of Zamil. So that is where the connection lies. Nahida did not live on that property. Nahida lived on USF campus. So the connection is that the suspect, Hisham, and Zamil were roommates.
Okay.
Through investigative measures, we are able to link the suspect to this case and to this body. Right now, we are pending the autopsy results for manner and cause of death, which is at the Pinellas County in Pinellas County. We should be getting results of that at the quickest, maybe tomorrow. They are on student visas and they are here in this country legally.
Okay, student
The suspect,
visas.
he was born, he is a U.S. citizen. Still working through that. The question was, what is the motive? We're still working through that. It's still an active investigation.
Yeah, why did this happen?
At this time, that's up to the medical examiner and the autopsy. We'll get those results again, perhaps tomorrow. Yes, ma'am. The suspect is the roommate of Zamil. Thank you all. I'm sorry. We're still working the investigation, so we need the community's help. Any tips we have to see her last known location, where has she been seen recently? If anybody has that information, please contact the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. And I would love to answer those questions, but again, still active investigation. All right, thank you.
Breaking news here in the Stream Center. The remains of Zamil Limon found at the Howard Franklin Bridge this morning by the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. Nikita Bristy, a missing person in this case, still unaccounted for, and the suspect is now in custody facing charges after a SWAT operation taking place right here on this street in Hillsborough County, Florida. Welcome back to the Stream Center, folks, on HGP from the Stream Center with Garrett Phillips. I'm JP Puno. The whole purpose of this now is to engage our audience and to speak with you back and forth and explain what just happened. I was writing notes as quickly as I could, a lot of new information here, but we have to begin with the heartbreaking update that the remains of Zamil Limon were found at the Howard Franklin Bridge police response this morning. The reason for all the traffic and the reason for the forensic unit pulling up there is because the remains of just a singular missing USF student were found at that location. Garrett, this was a heartbreaking update that we knew could be possible. We didn't know what was going to be discovered at the bridge site, but we now know that the remains of Zamil Limon have been positively identified by law enforcement.
Right. Obviously not the outcome that you want for him or his family. Now at this point, I think everybody is kind of going to shift focus to the hopefully safe return of Naheed Bristy, who at this point in time has not been found, to what we understand. There's no body. It seems that the one body that was found at the Howard Franklin Bridge was solely belonging to Zamil. No second body was found, so there is still hope that maybe there is still something good that can come out of this, but certainly not the update that you were hoping for Zamil Limon or his family. We're currently looking into the suspect who was barricaded in the home earlier this morning and was taken into custody. Hisham Abu Garbi, I believe that's how you say it. I mispronounce that.
Yeah, I believe the chief deputy also avoided saying the last name because of fear of mispronunciation. I have it as Hisham Abu Garbi. I don't know if that's correct. That's how I read it when I initially saw the name.
And we're learning more about this suspect as we are kind of combing through records. There are, in fact, actually a couple.
Achilles, professional performance, unbeatable prices, only at Harbor Freight.
Take your health somewhere it's never been before. With Garner's Natural Life, heal for the purest dreams.
Records. There are, in fact, actually a couple. JB, I don't know if you had a chance to.
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah,
there's a couple of charges in his past that obviously are not anything to this significance, but I've seen traffic records. I have seen records for breaking or trespassing rather on property, for assault. So there are multiple counts on his record.
And you heard there this morning that they had been interviewing him, that he had been on their radar, but it was upon arriving at the home today that originally they had to make sure that the family was not a complication with the SWAT operation. He refused to comply with law enforcement because of this is a domestic violence call. That's originally what began. And now we have domestic violence charges against him, as well as the unlawful removing of a body. The list of charges, it came out so fast, I was writing them down. I know our team is playing it back right now slower so we can get all the charges down to a T and make sure that we have this correct. The commenter asked earlier, will this interfere with school buses coming home in this neighborhood? And there you have an answer. They're letting school buses by. And so Nikita Bristy, 27 years old, is still unaccounted for. A short time ago, on this live stream, we showed you divers getting into the water. Undoubtedly, they are searching to make sure that there is no additional evidence that they have missed in the waters of Tampa Bay, under the Howard Franklin Bridge, the main thoroughfare between, Tampa and St. Petersburg. So we do know that divers are in the water and are scanning for more. But right now, only the remains of Zamil Limon have been found. A 27-year-old doctor from Bangladesh, studying here in the United States at the University of South Florida, a friend of Nahida Bristi, and now, as we understand it, Garrett, the roommate of the suspect, Hisham Abu Ghraib.
Yeah, we had heard previously about a roommate in some way, shape, or form. Obviously, now I think that we can say that was Hisham. And one thing I did note as the charges were being read out, there was not a charge, to my knowledge, from what I heard, regarding a murder, homicide, anything like that. It was simply charges of, I believe, mishandling of a body and hiding or concealing evidence of a crime. Nothing that directly mentions his connection to the death of Zamil. Now, whether that's
why is he not being charged with murder? Was this an accident?
to bring those types of charges forward yet, or they don't have that finalized. It's a lot harder to bring that type of charge, I think, than it would be to bring the charges they read off. But we do not know why that has not been officially something that has been charged to Hisham as of this time. So we are still waiting for more information. Will more charges be forthcoming? We do not know yet.
And we know that it's so common when we do these live streams. It happens quite a bit when we're covering cases like this, where we hear later on that the family was axed, because we're quite accessible for local media. I want to actually pause this right here. As far as local media goes, we're probably the most accessible in Tampa Bay. We put our streams out on YouTube, we put our streams out on Facebook and TikTok, and that makes it accessible to an international audience. And we've heard in the past that that's how people find our coverage, of course. And so I just want to be clear, with this heartbreaking and terrible news with Zamil, our prayers, our condolences go out to Zamil's family. And, and now there's so much more of an urgent focus on Nahida and finding where she may be. And perhaps there is some hope that Nahida isn't, hasn't succumbed to the same fate as Zamil. For this fact and this fact alone, the two were living together. Zamil and Hisham were living together. And Nahida, while also missing for the same period of time, had her own separate residence. I'm trying to find some light of hope that we can hold on to, that Nahida hasn't had the same thing happen to her, especially considering that at this stage we only have the remains of Zamil being found, and she remains a missing persons case. But my goodness, I can't help but think of the family right now. These two families, what they are going through, their heartbreak, our thoughts and prayers are with those families, because this is absolutely the worst outcome for Zamil's family, and now the most concerning of outcomes for Nahida's family.
Right. No, absolutely nothing that you can feel really good about here. We're currently working on trying to get...
Mark Lynch wants to legalize cocaine.
Cocaine or all the opiate-type drugs, they have a purpose.
I know his mugshot approved, and a few other things. We're talking about, of course...
So
go ahead.
Yeah, so I'll just get to this comment while you're looking some stuff up. AJB from, I think that's...
Okay, we know this dude was found deceased and in the water. What happened before he went into the water is a question that I have.
Such as this one. So there was clearly a domestic violence incident at the home that occurred this morning. Family members present, and so that resulted in the escalation where the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office had to make sure the family was okay, and then the barricaded subject being Hisham Abu Ghraib. non-compliant, and non-cooperative is the appropriate term. And so it was after a period of time that he was able to peacefully surrender himself, but we do not know what. I know, the charges. There was simple battery and false imprisonment to the commenter. But we don't know who was the victim of this domestic violence allegation.
No, we do not. We do also have a little bit more clarity on that Pinellas County site that we had seen previously.
That's right.
They had talked about that they were waiting for evidence to be processed to try and figure out the cause of death for Zamil Limon, and that was something that was being handled in Pinellas County. We had a drone shot up earlier around the household hazardous waste facility in Pinellas County, which is, by the way, right across the street from, I believe, the training facility for the divers that we maybe had seen previously as well. And so that was, I don't know if that's what they were using as a staging area for the investigation that was going on at the Howard Franklin at the time, but it certainly was seemingly at this point connected to that, and that is now where they are waiting for more information as to what happened to Zamil Limon and how, of course, his roommate Hisham might have been connected to it.
We are going to be on stream for another 10 minutes, 10-minute warning to our audience. As we have been going now for several hours, we'll need to take a break and regroup and reassess everything. I'm going to do this just twice. So let me do this the first time first. And Josh is way better at this than me. To our audience looking for more coverage on this story, we're gonna be live for another 10 minutes. We're gonna be live for another 10 minutes. But for people looking for coverage on this story, you can follow us on our social accounts. So, you can go to WFLA.com, the WFLA app, but really a lot of people watching it on social media. You can subscribe to us. This is where I'm at. Subscribe to us on YouTube. You can follow us on TikTok. You can click the follow button on Facebook. I think that there's also a bell icon you can click on for notifications for when we go live. We will be undoubtedly having more extensive live streaming coverage on this story, especially with the fact that that Nikita remains missing. So we will be wrapping up the live stream in about 10 minutes so that we can get a break and regroup and reassess. But yes, in the meantime, if that's how you want to get more coverage, we will be doing more live streams in the future. All right, last call for questions and comments with Hey JB or Hey Garrett. TK, do we know whose house this was? The suspect was taken into custody at family's house, or is this where him and Zamil lived? We know that they were roommates at that house, but we don't know who else was residing there. Well, we don't know who the property owner is.
I don't know if we know that they were roommates at the house where the barricade happened. Because, again, I believe that is on a different street than the one that they said Zamil was a resident at.
Okay,
so if they were roommates at this time, if they were currently roommates, this might be a separate home. Now, they could have been roommates and more recently split. I don't want to say split and like it was a relationship, but like their housing split happened recently.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but I did a Google Map search, and again, it's hard to tell because we don't know the exact address of either Zamil Limon's residence that he was staying at or the barricaded home. But I do know that the streets, when I looked up the streets that they were both listed on, they were about 10 minutes away. They were at a different location, to my knowledge, as of this time.
Stephanie, AJB, how did Zamil know his roommate since Hisham was not a USF student? I'm sure we will find out more, Stephanie. I hate to give you a non-answer, but if he was a doctoral student and if Hisham was not a USF student at all, how they met, how they knew each other, how they became roommates is going to be undoubtedly a part of the story going forward.
There's a lot of ways that could happen too. I mean, people are looking for roommates in the area if they're going to school all the time. So it could have been just by happenstance.
Bucky, I want to be very clear. Zamil is the victim here because it has been confirmed that he is deceased. Nahida is still a missing persons case out of Hillsborough County, Florida. But as far as their ages, the two on your screen here, Zamil, who's deceased on the right, and Nahida, who is missing on the left, They are 27 years old, and the alleged, in this case, we don't know much about a kidnapping, but as far as the suspect in this case is 26 years old, about to turn 27 next month. Let's see.
There's a moment when the power goes out that most people never really think about. It doesn't start with chaos, it starts with silence. The hum of your home disappears, the lights go out.
The Fari, I want to say that right. Hey JD, any news on Nikita? Any clues? Nothing. That would have been the first thing at the press conference. Let's see. Yeah, Garrett asked earlier, is there a possible love triangle? One more time, we do have the three people at play. These two on your screen, according to Samil's brother, they had feelings at one point, but they were friends at the time of their disappearance, so there's still a lot of unknown there. Jada says, prayers for Samil's family. I can't imagine what they're going through right now. Yeah, that's, this is a nightmare come to life for this family and Samil's friends, his classmates, people that knew him best. This is the news you didn't want. And again, I mentioned this earlier, it's very commonplace that people, that people connected to the story, maybe classmates of Samil or Nikita, that found this live stream because they're just scanning social media looking for coverage, and they find, us on YouTube. Again, I want to communicate that we are heartbroken that this is the outcome, but we're also trying to maintain as much hope as possible that Nikita is found alive. Again, this is a last call for HJB questions and comments. We're going to do 2 to 3 more questions or comments, but they have to use HJB or Hey Garrett. That's our system for taking questions and comments, so that you basically give us a thumbs up that you want us to put your comment and your profile picture and your name on screen. Thinking like an investigator is Lexi saying, hey JB, if the remains of Samil were found in the water, wouldn't the traffic cam on the bridge have seen the person dumping the body? Now, yes, in theory. However, how high quality are these at night? And is it possible that somebody disposed of the remains at a high rate of speed at night? That would be the two most complicating factors, right? It would be way simpler if the person pulled off onto the side of the interstate on the Howard Franklin, if there was room to do so, and to dispose of the remains. But if they just, if they were going at 75 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour, and chucked it out the window, that's going to make it a little bit more challenging, but absolutely, traffic cameras are going to be a massive focal point for this investigation going forward to see if they can identify the vehicle that was able to make it out there. And also, too,
I wonder if that's how they even got to this scenario today. I mean,
can't help but wonder.
They were, obviously, we knew about the Howard Franklin Bridge scene hours before we knew about the SWAT arrival at the residence where the it happened. So perhaps that was part of it. Perhaps that is what tipped them off. But we don't know yet, and we will not know until they release more information on the investigation.
Yeah, no, you're also dealing with a window of time that is entirely unclear. I mean, you know when they went missing, but I mean, when were the remains disposed of? Some of the remains. That's a lot of traffic video to go through. It might be a very long process. You just don't know. Can't help but wonder if AI can participate in the process to speed up, like, the investigation of combing through countless hours of video. One more. We'll take one more. Let's see if we can get one more on screen. Thank you for this comment. I'm glad that we were able to live streams on this story. This story is far from over. You could make the argument that we are at the most important part of this story because we now know that finding Nikita is of paramount importance for investigators. Not that it wasn't prior, but now that we know that something sinister happened to Zamil, the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office are going to be working so diligently to find out where Nikita is and whether or not they can locate her as soon as possible. We appreciate everybody joining us here from the Stream Center on this particular story. We will have more live streams. And so on social media, follow YouTube, TikTok.
That's it. Prayers to this man's family, and I'm praying and hoping that a young lady in question will be found as well. Um, I'm not done with this story. I will come back to it when there's an update to this right here. With that being said, I'll see y'all later. Peace.